Hey everyone, welcome to our Monday morning meditation. So glad you are here today. And just want to share some fun things with you. There's a video that a friend of mine sent to me this week by Dr. McGonigal, who is a neuroscientist researcher. And in this video, she was talking about distress tolerance and a study that was done to help people stop smoking. And I'm just going to run through it very quickly. I am not going to do it justice, but there's a point that I will get to after I share with you the study. They took a group of people, and they had a control group also who was not doing this thing that I'm going to be describing. And they took a group of people who were smokers and who wanted to quit, but have had a hard time stopping over the years. And so they were trying this new method, this distress tolerance method. And they asked the participants to come in the morning, do not smoke before they come in. And they checked their CO2 levels to make sure that they hadn't smoked before the study. So they were first thing in the morning, not having smoked, and bring an unopened pack of cigarettes with them and a lighter. So they did that. And they all sat with their pack of cigarettes right in front of them. And the researcher said, okay, now unwrap your pack of cigarettes. And you could feel the excitement in the room, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a smoke finally this morning. I haven't had a cigarette all morning. And so they opened it up, and the researcher had them smell it and then stop for 2 minutes. They stopped with that fresh inhalation of the smell of their cigarettes. For 2 minutes, they stopped. Just breathed. Just breathe. Feel what you're feeling and breathe. And they said, okay, now take out a cigarette. People took out a cigarette and they said, okay, stop for 2 minutes. And every step along the way up to putting the cigarette in their mouth, but not lighting it, that was not part of the research. They did not light the cigarette. But after each step, they would stop for 2 minutes. And I've never been a smoker, but I can imagine, I have other things that pull me like a cigarette, like chocolate and, other things. But I imagine that you can imagine with me that each step of the way, their internal system was so habituated to responding a certain way and receiving that feeding, if you will, the calmness of the nicotine and so forth, that their body was each time during those 2 minutes revving up. But then by the end of the 2 minutes, that urge, that impulse has passed. And then the next step, okay, now I'm going to get it. Now I'm going to get to smoke my cigarette. Stop for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a really long time when you're waiting for something. It goes by quickly when we're having fun, but when we are under distress, when we're in distress, 2 minutes is a very long time. 40% of, or the people in the non-control group, the people who were experiencing this method of stopping at each step, reduced their cigarette intake by 40% in the next week. They didn't stop altogether, some of them, but they reduced it because they were training themselves to take a pause before they acted on the impulse, acted on the urge to smoke. So, if they had kept going with that and kept that training up, I have no doubt there would have been a high success rate. Why? Because they weren't starving themselves of their habit. They were retraining themselves slowly but surely. And in our fast society where we want everything right now. And most of the time we can get everything right now, right? And our system, our internal nervous system, our mind body system is used to getting what we want when we want it. And so our distress tolerance is very low. And that causes us, or it can be, and it causes us to react when we're not getting our way. It causes us to react and makes us feel unsettled. You know, it's that FOMO, fear of missing out, that that comes from the way our nervous system works when we are feeding it all the time what it wants when it wants it. And one of the methods for distress tolerance that Dr. McGonigal talks about in this little video, and I will post this video on the YouTube recording so you can check it out. It's a fun little 6 or 8 minute video. One of the things she recommends to increase distress tolerance is meditation. And of course, and so one of the comments I've heard over the years about people stopping their meditation time or their meditation practice or their meditation attempts is that, oh, my mind goes crazy. So I can't meditate because my mind is always going crazy. Well, yes, that's what minds do, especially our untrained mind that has been used to pulling us around and taking us wherever it wants to go, whatever emotion stirs us in the moment, whatever urge stirs us in the moment. It's used to having its way. So when we sit down for meditation, all those thoughts are going to come up. And that is part of our training. And in meditation, we are learning to tolerate those thoughts and emotions and urges and impulses that come up. We just let them. We just let them come up, but we remain in our center. So many meditations. I've been spending a lot of time this weekend focusing on my own meditation and my own distress tolerance within myself. And I've been using some videos to help me, kind of guide me to help me stay with my center over the weekend. And it's all the meditation videos that are worth anything to us are telling us just let those thoughts be. Don't try to force them down. Don't try to run away from them. Don't try to deny them. Just let them be. And they have no energy. They pass. Like the urge for that next step in the cigarette smoking process, the urge is there. Wait 2 minutes and it goes. It's gone. Our thoughts are never permanent. They never stick around. They may come back over and over again because they're used to it, and it's a habitual resurfacing of those thoughts and emotions, but they never last. And when I was thinking this morning, and the thought came to me, like when we realize that our brains and these reactions that come up are just from this like slab of meat in our heads that are connected to our nervous system and lots of other slabs of meat in our bodies. But it's our consciousness that drives the train. Ultimately, I guess you can't drive a train, right? But it's our consciousness that can be in charge. We are just used to, for many years of letting it happen because we haven't known any better. We are used to letting our urges drive us. We are used to letting our thoughts take us in all sorts of directions. So in our meditation time, we are learning, oh my gosh, I've been letting the slab of meat be in charge, but here I am right here in my center and I'm in charge. I'm in charge right now. I'm in charge as these thoughts go through my mind. I'm in charge as those urges come up, and maybe I don't need that next piece of chocolate. Maybe I don't need that cigarette. Maybe I don't need that, to keep myself busy calling people on the phone all day, or whatever, those things that we do to keep ourselves busy because we don't feel comfortable with ourselves. those are the things to watch out for. And those are the things that we can identify and say, okay, I need to learn how to deal with not doing that. I need to and not to push it away, but to ride the urge through. And she suggests the things we do in meditation time. Just watch them. Breathe. When something is especially strong coming up, the negative thoughts or the impulse to leave our meditation time and go somewhere else, we can just breathe through it. And what do we do in our Monday morning meditations? We do a lot of breathing, right? We have our quick breath. We have our time together where we're practicing together, just letting those things go. And that's all we have to do. We just let them go. For 20 minutes every Monday, we let them go. So let's start our time together. In our meditation time, tolerating what that little slab of meat is doing in our heads as we focus on our center. So just take a couple of deep breaths right now and just let that go. That was a lot of information for our time together. We can address it later, but right now, all we have to focus on is just letting the body relax and be still. Just feel your body melt into your chair. Adjust to be comfortable so you can let go of any thought of the body. If there's something that in the body that is hurting or aching, or if there's any discomfort there, just notice it with compassion and love. Just let it be. Just let it be. As you feel your body relaxing, notice where you feel most centered. In your body space, it doesn't have to be in your physical body. It often is, but it doesn't have to be. Where you feel most calm, grounded, neutral. Maybe it's your heart center. Which when we can feel our center in our hearts. It's such a beautiful place to rest our attention, to feel our breath moving in and through that heart center. Perhaps it's your feet, your bottom in the chair, your back against whatever you're leaning on. Maybe it's your hands in your lap, open, resting. Wherever you feel your center most today, let your attention be there. Feel your breath moving in and out of that grounded, centered place. Notice the quiet. Notice how quiet you can be inside. And sometimes that quiet stirs up the mind. It wants to fill the quiet with itself. Its evaluations, its impulses. And they mean nothing. Just let them flow away. You have something in particular on your mind today. When that subject comes up, just say stop. Stop. For 2 minutes, let's stop and breathe. Breathe through the urge to think about it or get in a conversation about it. You might notice the urge to continue. Just let it and just watch the urge without tussling with it. Let your attention move back to your center and breathe. Let your breath move in through that place you feel most centered, breathing in pure air and everything else out. Don't worry if this is difficult. You get into the tussle with the mind. It's just used to having its way, that's all. Every time you bring your awareness, your attention back to your center, you are taking control, you are taking responsibility for yourself. You're present. Our whole meditation practice leads us to ultimately living our lives from a place of presence and awareness and clarity, above and beyond the traffic jam of the mind and emotional and physical impulses. And not that those are bad things, those are all where we all have had a tendency to get bound up in. But now we're ready. It's time for that greater awareness, that consciousness to be in charge. Our awakeness to be in charge versus the sleep of the automatic thoughts and emotions. I invite you this week to practice with us. Practice noticing the thoughts and urges and just putting a pause there very consciously, very intentionally. And breathe through any distress that comes out. And work with the small things first. The big things we don't always foresee. So as we practice on the smaller everyday things, we are prepared for anything that might come up. If you're able to continue your meditation time right now, I invite you to do so. And if you need to head out and about for your day, just take a deep breath and stretch a little and let yourself feel grounded in your body and your surroundings. And keep practicing this week. Next week is Labor Day, and I will be here for our Monday morning meditation. If you are not able to, I understand. Have a wonderful weekend, relaxing, enjoying whatever you'll be enjoying. And have a wonderful week between now and then. Bye-bye.